Staffs are the people who you will hire to actually run the activities of your factory. When hiring staffs, there are several things you need to know and several things you need to keep in mind, because your staffs can either support you in building your business, or they can be the ones who potentially ruin your business. So there are two major people who are important in the water factory: the production manager and the quality control. Now, who is the production manager? The production manager is the person that monitors the production activities of the factory. That's from pumping water to making sure that the operators are around, to making sure that water is distributed, to making sure that everything like the backwashing, all those other activities within the factory are done. That is the job of the production manager. Now we also have the quality control. The quality control is the person that monitors the quality and the output of the product of the water factory. Now the quality control will make sure that the water is up to standard. Will make sure that they check the TDS level and the pH level of the water. The quality control will also make sure that the water filters are clean. The quality control will make sure that the production operators are actually working with the company standards and NAFTA guidelines. And the quality control is just to make sure that everything in the factory is done at optimum capacity and of good quality. So these two people are very important when setting up your water factory. In short, NAFDAC usually checks the qualification of these two people, either they are degree holders and if they meet the requirements for actually playing that role as the production manager and the quality control. Now, there are other staffs too in the factory, like your operators, your drivers, your cleaners, your accountants, and your security. So they all have their different roles, but these two in particular are the ones that even when NAFDAC come for inspection, they would like to see them and they would like to, have discussions with them, interview them to see if they are right for the job. So you need to make sure that the person you are hiring for this particular two roles are people who are sound, they have good communication skills, and they can be able to represent your company anytime they, come to ask them questions, and in your absence, they can speak on your behalf. So one thing you need to make sure that your staffs do observe is neatness. Now, before entering a water factory, there's a washroom and a cloakroom. The washroom and the cloakroom is where they carry out all sanitary activities. That's like washing their hands, applying hand sanitizer. If they'll need to put hair nets, that's where they'll put hair nets. If they'll need to put on lab coats, that's where they'll put on lab coats. That's where they'll put on the factory slippers, everything that has to do with production. So that's where everything takes place there. So you need to make sure that you provide enough room for them to be able to freshen up. You provide them with the right hand gloves, hairnets, hand sanitizers, face masks if there is need for that. So you need to make sure that all these things are provided for your staffs when setting up a water factory. The next thing again is the number of staffs which you hire. Now, for a sachet water factory, usually you just need only one operator per machine. But like the bottling factory, only the monoblock section, you need at least four people to monitor it. Then you have your shrink wrapping section. Then you now start talking of other people like the accountant. You also have a blowing section. You need somebody blowing bottles, and you also need somebody assisting the person blowing the bottles, and so on. So for like a minimum capacity, a pure water factory, let's say a factory of this size with probably one or two machines, you'll need at least two operators. You'll need your drivers. Okay, like I said, now drivers, depending on how many vehicles you have, you might have two or three of them. So let's say you have two operators, three drivers, or two drivers, that's four. You have your production manager, five. You have quality control, that's six, and maybe possibly your accountant, that's seven. So at least for a pure water factory, you will need 6 to 7 people engaged in the factory. Then for a bottled water factory, that's when you can now start thinking about maybe 15 people plus, because you will need different people for different activities within the factory. And it is important that when you're hiring these people, now you can either hire fresh people without experience or those with experience. But those with experience, usually they tend to pay them a lot higher. than those with fresh experience. You know, the fresh people, you need to train them, you need to educate them, all at the company's expense. So those ones, they tend to grow with the business. But if you are hiring people with experience, you'll be paying a lot more. But your initial output and your initial production will be as someone who owns an experienced factory. So that's just one thing you need to keep in mind when hiring staffs, either experienced or inexperienced. Now the hygiene station and the factory apparel needs to be cleaned and monitored closely. So that means you need to hire a cleaner. Now the cleaner will be in charge of cleaning all the equipment, making sure all the factory wares like the slippers they are washed and clean, making sure that the toilet is clean, the wash hand basins, if they need to refill the hand sanitizers, the cleaner will do all that. So you need to hire somebody that will actually take care of all the hygiene and neatness aspects of the business. And your staffs too should be able to support that person in making sure that the standard is maintained. Not that I have one person trying to clean up the factory and another trying to mess up the place. So you need to educate them on that. That also brings me to my next point. When hiring staffs, you need to prepare their minds, or they need to prepare their minds that they will be receiving lectures. Now, these lectures can come in different form. You can be lecturing your drivers on how to maintain vehicles. There could be lectures on maintenance of equipment. There could be lectures on maintaining factory hygiene. In short, there was a program I recently attended that NAFDAC organized with the Standard Organization of Nigeria to lecture factory owners and to educate people on how to actually run a water factory in Nigeria. So they should be prepared to attend such seminars to be able to, upgrade themselves, learn more, see people in similar businesses and share ideas. So this will help you run a better factory and it will ensure optimum performance of your staffs in the factory. Now, you will need to also maybe create an accommodation for them. Now, if you need maximum efficiency, you want to see your production going on well, you don't want to hear that somebody traveled to his village, or you don't want to hear that somebody is stuck at home, he doesn't have transport to come to work. You can make provision for a small accommodation that should be able to contain your staffs. So, like I said, there's a video I recorded where as I was recording the video, NEPA actually brought the light. So things like that are very useful if you have an accommodation in the factory. Like in our factory here, this particular factory, we have an external accommodation whereby if they should bring light in the night, we have our production manager, we have people on ground that can begin production. So that helps in effectively utilizing NEPA light whenever we see it, and it helps us produce and plan our production. So you should hire staffs that should be at least able to make some sacrifices to see that the progress and success of the factory is actually achieved. Now, in your factory too, if you have the resources, it's also advised that at least you try to make the place a very comfortable working environment for your staffs. So you can install ACs, you can, do some little things that will also support them. If there's to have a trolley that will help you carry your products in bulk, you can also do things like that. And you can also, make some little adjustments in the working environment that will make it a good place and a friendly place for them to want to work. For the payment of staffs, there are two major ways which we do pay staffs in a water factory. So this is either for a pure water factory, bottled water, or dispenser. We have salary base and we have commission. So for salary is usually given to like the production manager, quality control, accountants, cleaners, and maybe your security guard. Then for the commission, this is for the people who are directly involved with production and sales. So for the production side, depending on how many bags the operator is able to produce, that's for the pure water. There is a rate at which we do pay per bag. Also for the bottled water too, there is a rate which we do pay per pack of water produced. So between the operators, you can have a discussion, and I'll advise that you try and find out the rate which they do pay operators in your area. That's why we have the Association of Table Water Producers, so that you can rub minds with other people in the business and find out how much they are paying their staffs either the drivers or the operators. And even in that meeting, you will hear different people sharing their opinions and different ways which they do it. So by finding out from them, at least you have a better understanding of what the payment structure is in your particular area. That's the thing, so that you won't be underpaying your staff. Usually, if your staffs, especially the operators, if they see that you're underpaying them, they might move to other factories and offer their services there where they'll pay them more. So try and make sure what you are giving to them is fair so that the efficiency in your factory will be at optimum. For the drivers, before you hire a driver, you should try and do your background check to make sure that the driver has an experience driving vehicles or he has previously handled a vehicle before. Because sometimes people will just come to you, the usual trend in Nigeria these days is like any job I can get, I will do it. So if you hire people with such method, you might hire someone who doesn't have experience doing marketing. This is a distribution vehicle and you need to be strategic with the places you go and how you do marketing. So if you hire somebody who is not experienced, they might end up just wasting fuel driving around and entering potholes, causing damages to the vehicles too. So try and make sure that the driver has experience, he has a driver's license, and the person actually knows what they are doing. They know some parts of the vehicle. The staffs you are hiring should be medically and physically fit. So having staffs that are physically fit, medically fit in the factory means that your production will go well and your products won't be contaminated. Imagine maybe one of your staffs, maybe an operator, has catarrh and he's producing pure water. So I don't want to even think about it because you know that some bacteria and some things will go into the water. The virus will be transmitted through there. So try and make sure that your staffs, those who are going to work, are medically fit on a daily basis. If the person comes to work and is feeling a little bit under the weather, you can substitute him or her for another person. That is why I do usually recommend that at least you have an alternative, especially with the operators. Sometimes they work for extended periods. Like you can have an operator that will come, maybe he has a target to meet. They want to work for 8 hours, 9 hours plus. And the following day, they might feel down because we are all humans. So you will need somebody to at least support or fill in the gap when the operator is not there. So those are just some of the major things you need to keep in mind for you to have a smooth running factory and to hire staffs when setting up your own water factory. If there is anything you would like to know, I do hold one-on-one coaching sessions on WhatsApp. If you are thinking of setting up a pure water factory, a bottled water factory, a dispenser gallon factory, and you need information, you need resources, you need building plan, you need a checklist, you need resource contacts. All those things are offered in my one-on-one coaching session. You can also join my channel membership here on YouTube. If you look at where there's a subscribe button, you'll see a join button. If you should join, I do share exclusive contents to there, like how I share videos here. Joining the membership community, I share resources like one-on-one conversations which I have with other experts in the field. I do hold live streams, exclusive live streams to the community members, and so much more. So yeah, don't forget to also join that. And lastly, also subscribe to the YouTube channel as it shows your support, and I'll be posting more videos.